Hello everyone, Johnny here once again, and today we're gonna do the real review of Dolce&Gabbana Pour Homme Intenso. Now, when I say real review, it doesn't mean that anybody else's review is fake. No, what I mean by that is that I purchased this fragrance myself with my own money, so I'm not gonna pledge no allegiance to nobody. There is no brand loyalty. I'm a real consumer just like you. There is no affiliate link so you can click, buy something and I get some commission. None of that. And most importantly, I am not trying to sell you anything. If I tell you that I like something, that means I really like it. And if I tell you that I don't like something, that means I really don't like it. And yes, I am 100% ripping off Flossie Carter on that intro. I am in no way, and I repeat, I am in no way, shape or form claiming that I am an expert or that I know more than anyone else in the fragrance community. I'm just gonna share my thoughts and experience with you so you can decide if you drop your hard-earned money on a bottle of perfume or not. Take my review and really anyone's review with a grain of salt. We all have different perceptions, different skin chemistry, and of course, different taste. So let's get busy. Let's start off with one of the most important aspects when it comes to purchasing a new fragrance. The price. Now, there is no point of really telling you how much the fragrance costs because if you watch this video 2, 3, 5 years from now, chances are the price is gonna be a little or a lot higher due to inflation. But as of right now, you can get this bottle, the 125 milliliter version, for 118 American dollars. Price is always gonna be subjective. There is people who may save up months just to get this fragrance, and there is some other people who can afford $300 or $500 or $300 fragrances in a single purchase on a regular basis. So it depends on each people's economy, of course. But in my opinion, the price of this bottle is a little bit overpriced. Why am I saying that? Stay tuned for the answer. Is it worth the price? Let's find out. Now let's continue with the notes. According to Dolce&Gabbana's website, on the top note we have Italian bergamot, Grand Vert basil, and orange blossom. On the heart we have French lavender, marigold, vetiver, and maple accord. And finally on the base notes we have cypress, iris, geranium, and labdanum. We have good quality notes in here. Some of them are natural, some of them are synthetic. But nonetheless, we have something unique here as far as designer fragrances go. Now, what do I smell in here? Remember, this is the part of the video that is kind of subjective because what I'm about to tell you is my perception and it may vary from your perception. When you first spray this, everything will come up right at your nose and you will not know what's happening. But when you take your time and try to analyze what's going on, what I get it's mainly two things: dried grass and a soapy accord. This is a very dried green, aromatic, slightly spicy, soapy fragrance. We have quite a few herbal and floral notes presented, but the smell of those notes is when everything is dry, kind of malty and earthy. The vetiver is probably playing a role in there. You still get the aromatic facets that lavender and cypress provide, entwined with the soapy accord. And on the very bottom of the fragrance, you can sense, especially in the dry down, a slight labdanum note, presenting a tiny ambery contribution. It's not dominant by any means, but if you pay attention in the dry down, you can sense it. Everything that I mentioned makes this a very different fragrance, especially in the designer market. So far, I have nothing that smells similar to this in my collection. Now, this is sort of a linear fragrance. It doesn't evolve too much, with the exception that the aromatic facet goes up a little bit. It's not a huge change, but it's worth mentioning. But overall, how you smell this after 15 minutes you sprayed it, that's pretty much exactly how the fragrance is gonna smell until the last second. I just mentioned some of the notes to highlight some aspects of it. Not all the notes, of course, but that's not important because that's just my perception. Of course, you can sense different things, different notes, because remember, each nose is a totally different world. This is a very unique fragrance. I don't mean that it's challenging, but this is something that it was not conceived to be a mass-pleasing scent. That might be contradictory. After all, we're still talking about designer fragrances. But that's just how it is. Every now and then, some brands will launch something that is not following the trends, and they give us a different scent to try. Just like Gucci did back in the day with the delightful Guilty absolute. They gave us this sadly discontinued masterpiece. This is also the case right here. Dolce&Gabbana is giving us something different. Now let's talk about a very important topic for a lot of people. The compliments. Personally speaking, I couldn't care less about the compliments. And it's kind of weird because a lot of people buy fragrances with the sole purpose of hopefully feeling validated throughout other people's opinion. That's not my case. I'm one of those weird people that buy fragrances just to please myself, and that's it. If some other people like it, great, but I don't really care about that. That being said, I have received compliments using this fragrance, but mainly from older people than me. And I don't precisely mean people on their 60s or their 70s. I mean folks on their 30s or 40s. Performance. Let's talk about performance, but first let me tell you something. Not all atomizers were created equal. Some of them are average, some of them just get the job done. You got those crappy ones that the atomizer basically just spits when you're applying it on your skin or clothing without the consistent burst of perfume. You got the famous mist atomizer, but you gotta play with them. Each kind of atomizer is not gonna eject the same amount of perfume. This one is okay. Now the performance is not good enough. I'm getting 4 hours on average, sometimes a little bit more, spraying this on both my skin and clothing. We're talking about 5 to 10 sprays in total. Now projection. Using that amount of sprays, you'll be projecting 2 meters from you for the first 10 minutes. Then you'll have it, let's say, within your arm's reach for another 40 minutes. And then for the other 3+ hours, this will gradually tone down until it becomes a skin scent. Remember, not all fragrances were created with the purpose of being projecting like crazy with a longevity of 12+ hours. There are more subtle scents that were created precisely with the purpose of being more intimate. But for the name Intenso, you would probably expect a performance at least over 6 hours. Sadly, that's not gonna happen. Now, occasions. I will tell you something. This is one of my favorite daily drivers for fall and winter. When you break out your flannel or your long coat to rock out during the day, I like to give my nose a break of using colognes and citrusy, fresh scents during fall and winter. And this is a very good option for a daily driver. You can use this all day long, day and night. The complexity and the blending of the ingredients allows it. Now, considering what I just said about the performance, you can easily assume that this is not the fragrance that you want to wear when you go out to the nightclub when there is a lot of people smoking cigarettes and God knows what else, or somewhere in open spaces. As far as the occasions go, I will tell you that this is not an elegant scent, but this is not extremely casual either. This is something that I would use for the office, on a business meeting, going to the grocery store, when you're hanging out with your friends having a coffee, when you're swinging at the mall, or even using it when you're fresh out of the shower before going to sleep. Now, with that I just said, take that into consideration for the colder months of the year. However, if you decide to use this all year round, my only suggestion would be careful with the amount of sprays you use. The performance is not the greatest, but the smell is very dense. If you use this as I suggested, the cool weather is gonna help you to make it just as bearable as any other wintertime fragrance, and will allow you to use with the amount of sprays that you want, as opposed to the heat that's just gonna do the opposite. Gender. Let's go with gender. I'm gonna keep this fairly short. For my nose, this is 100% towards the masculine spectrum, just like the name suggests. Age. Let's go with age. I would say if you're close to your 30s, you're good to go until the end of your days. This is not a playful scent for a teenage to wear. This smells more mature than Dior Homme 2020. Not as mature as Polo Green, but this is something that I wouldn't recommend for a teenager. However, if for some reason a kid tries this and likes it, you already know. Do your thing. So, quality, good. Versatility, 7 out of 10. Performance, slightly below average. Compliments, sometimes. Now, personally speaking, reviewing this fragrance was a little challenging for me, because sometimes you look at the notes of a fragrance and you think it doesn't smell anything like I imagined. This was the case. I didn't mention it because I went with the info given in the Dolce&Gabbana's official website, but in Fragrantica, within the notes that are listed in here, it mentions water notes. I don't smell any water notes in here. I didn't bash on the performance too much because of the price tag. And remember, you're getting 125 milliliters. $118 is not that crazy. And we have a unique scent profile presented in here. Definitely try before you buy. As I said before, this is not challenging, but for my nose, it's not a mass-pleasing scent either. At the end of the day, do what you want with your fragrance. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, is entitled to tell you what to do. This is just my opinion, as I stated in the very beginning of the video. If this review was useful to you, I would feel very honored. But at the end of the day, do as you please. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, I really hope you found this video useful. Tack så mycket, merci beaucoup, muito obrigado, dankeschön, muchas gracias, spasiba, quietos, grazie mille, arigatou gozaimasu. See you in the next video.